Look at this guy trying to take my limelight from me. Not today, Teddy. Yeah, whatever. So we're back with this time a comic book review for the comic series, which is titled Letter 44. He's just climbing up the cat tree that this camera is on top of. It's written by the writer Charles Soule. Charles Soule has written like a bunch of other stuff, comics and novels. The one comic I've read is 8 Billion Genies. It's fantastic. The one novel I've read is The Oracle Year, which is like 4 out of 5 stars. It's pretty good. But in terms of this series here, it's roughly this many issues. This book here is the first trade paperback, of which there are roughly 6. I also have the second one here, so they kind of look pretty much the same. It's just like a slightly different shading of such. So the story goes that the 44th president, this came out originally back in 2014, comes into office. He's given a letter from the 43rd president, who's since gone into hiding or has gone missing. And basically, the 44th president is told in this letter that there's some sort of an extraterrestrial / alien spacecraft that has entered the solar system a number of years ago. The 43rd president sent up a set of NASA scientists, astronauts, space people to go and check it out, and they've now made contact, like just as the 44th president has came in to office, and he's basically going to have to deal with that. It's been kept a secret from the public, which is like a good sort of story element because you don't know whether or not it's going to be revealed. I would imagine at some point in like the 30 whatever issues of this series, the 6 trade paperbacks, that's probably going to get revealed. It's more about like how it's going to get revealed. Like I said, the 43rd president is gone missing. He's going to be another important character in the story, along with the current 44th president, Curtis Blades, I believe is how you pronounce the name, is dealing with a lot of very topical things like war in the Middle East, poor medical healthcare system in America, and poverty and things like that, as well as the secret that a lot of political commentators would, or a lot of political critics of anyone who made that decision to keep it a secret will therefore have on the 44th president for continuing to hold that secret back. So yeah, it's super interesting. I'm not a big sci-fi fan myself particularly, but I heard that synopsis before. There's not really been a review on this in quite a number of years because it came out so long ago. The most recent one was like 5 years ago, and the world has kind of changed in 5 years, believe it or not. It was 5 years ago this month that COVID kind of flipped us all upside down. But yeah, a lot of the sort of issues of the time are still very much the same. You know, if you think this is 2014, that's halfway through Barack Obama's second term in presidency when this started to get released, and then would have continued to be released through Trump's first presidency. So take from that what you will. I've really enjoyed it. It goes back and forth between obviously the 44th president that's on Earth, as well as the team of scientists that are up on their spacecraft and starting to make contact with whatever this alien spacecraft is. Without giving too much away, there's about 12 of them up on this spacecraft, and small spoiler, really worth knowing, one of them is pregnant. It's also not known who the father is. That's another interesting storyline, and they're basically just non-stop dealing with stuff up there in the ether, so to say. They don't really care too much about what's going on in terms of this guy's presidency, even though it has a huge effect on everything politically that's happening on Earth. So it's extremely enjoyable to read. Just flicking through the pages, I quite like the artwork. It's not too messy, and there's a fair amount of dialogue, so you don't go through it in like 5 minutes, so to say. You can also get these as like a larger hardcover book edition, which I'll picture for you just now, where you can basically get 2 trade paperbacks in one, and so there'll be 3 of those books because there's 3 larger books and 6 trade paperbacks. I got the trade paperbacks for number 1 and 2 here, purely because the first one I got, I didn't know whether or not I was going to enjoy it and want to buy more. The second one I then got because that was the cheapest option. I've read these 2, so for trade paperback 3 and 4, I actually found that book 2, which was trade paperback 3 and 4, was more cost effective for me at the time, and I also got it brand new somehow. Go figure. In terms of cost, the first trade paperback was like less than £10, probably less than $10 as well, as the first one generally is. The second one was a little bit more expensive, but like I felt like it was worthwhile for me to make a purchase on. They're generally like £10 a piece on average. So if that's something that you feel would be worth spending your money on, then go for it. If not, I'm sure you can find them online for a significantly cheaper price. So who's this series for? Sci-fi fans, of course. If you've read any of Charles Soule's other work, I would say like the 3 series or books that I've read so far have all been really good, at least 4 or 4.5 stars out of 5 for me. This one is like currently on a 5 out of 5. If you are into political dramas in any such way, then this is really for you. I would say it's more a political drama book than it is a sci-fi book, because most of the time is probably spent on Earth with the president, his cronies, and his political adversaries, whether they be known as such as like the opposition party or people behind the scenes who are trying to get him out of power for whatever reason or get to him in some sort of way. Then it spends time with the 12 astronauts and the child that is up in the spacecraft. Yeah, it's really good. Hopefully this is worthwhile for someone who can get a more recent review than the ones that came out when the book originally came out, which is like 11 years ago now. So, and it still holds up, at least for me. So yeah, it's really good. Go and read it, I guess. Wally, where's the cat?